Alright everybody, welcome back to another turn of Operation Schultz. This is going to be turn 14 for the British Commonwealth and Free French. I believe any necessary housekeeping was addressed between board states. There's nothing that needs to be gone over right now. This board state is accurate as far as I can tell. Alright, so let's get into the tech rolls. I have rolled those off screen using the Dice Maiden bot. I got a hit of 12 on Improved Factories and a hit of 8 on LRA. Barely squeaking one out on that one. Alright, moving on to the buys. I'm going to declare for GB 2 AAA, a fighter, 2 militia upgrades, and a colonial. For Anzac, an airborne and a transport. Well, no, Anzac is a medium tank LL, and FEC is a transport and an airborne. And that'll clear the Anzac and FEC banks and leave one remaining for GB. Okay, let's get into combat moves. Let's see if we have any. We do have a few. I'm going to, from Suez, I'm going to attrition attack Western Egypt with no response. I'm going to raid a M3 on the Italian line with the GB coast or with the GB sub, which started in M9. And nothing in Spain, nothing in GB. Okay. In East Africa, I'm doing a few things. So the British Airborne from Cape Town is going to fly 1, 2, 3, 4, attacking French Somaliland, leaving 2 with which to land. Okay, joining them is going to be the fighter from Lower Egypt. 1, 2, 3, also leaving 2 to land. And lastly, from southern India, a GB Marine and Infantry are going to board the FEC Naval Transport and move 1 into I-4, where they will disembark into an amphibious assault of French Somaliland. They're going to be joined by the battleship from Calcutta, Bay of Bengal, which is going to be bombarding in that territory. I believe one more combat is in Australia. Both seaplanes are going to be mapping against the German submarine. The rest is going to be all in non-combats. Yeah, okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and roll for the rating first. So I have, I'm going to use these 2 die. This die will be the submarine, and then the black die will be for the Italian convoy. The Italians are rolling at nothing, and GB has a +2. That does do the 1 damage on the Italian line. And we'll remove 1 from their bank. Alright. I'm not sure why this is here. I don't know. I'll leave it there because I don't know what to do with it. These units actually are not going to be able to attack, is why they're not. Why I didn't declare that. I don't have an aircraft to force the combat with the seaplane, so that's just gonna all stay in Gibraltar, I guess. Okay, we'll do the attrition roll in Suez from Suez. I have just 2 D12, which hit on a 2 or less. Both missed. Alright. So those will just come back into Suez, of course. And then last combat, let's do French Somaliland. Okay. First we'll roll Battleship Bombard at a 4. Miss. Roll the fighter at a 6. Hit. Okay, and then we'll roll the infantry defending at a 4. Miss. Fantastic. Okay. So that will be British territory now. I'll make sure the roundel is marked, but it doesn't really matter because it's not a territory that can collect income. At the end of the non-combat, those are going to land in Nubia, and then we'll do this combat. Last one to do. 2 d12s, hits on 5 or less. Here we go. Both miss. Joyful. Absolutely joyful. Okay. Oh well. Those seaplanes are both going to land in the Northern Territory. Oh well. That'll change a little bit. Yeah, that's going to change a little bit. Okay, so in non-combats, we'll start with Australia. This is going to change. I am no longer picking up 2 units. I'm only picking up the Marine. And then I'm going to strategic naval move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll do. Actually, I think I want it to be the infantry, not the Marines. Yeah. Yeah. And that'll consume all of my strategic naval capacity for the turn. Okay. Further from Anzac, in P61, the FEC destroyer is moving 1, 2 into I-12. It's going to hang out there. The fighter from Calcutta is flying 1, 2, and it's going to land on Ceylon. It's not going to land in Maha. From Calcutta, the air transport is going to fly 1, pick up the airborne, and fly 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all going to land in Nubia. Okay. That should be all of that. From southern India, both units which remain, which is 1 GB infantry, 1 Gurkha, are going to walk over to Maha. Everything in Benares, which is 10 Gurkhas, is going to walk into Punjab. That'll cover everything there. Further in Africa, the light carrier that was in Aden is going to come out and go and port in Suez instead. The ships in Suez, which don't contribute a militia, are all coming out of port and hanging out in I-5 instead. That is an Anzac light cruiser and 2 destroyers. And then from Cape Town, the advanced artillery is going to rail the Suez, and from Rhodesia, the AAA is going to rail to Suez. And that will finish the British non-combat moves in Africa. Yeah. Okay. In Spain, from Western Andalusia, all 3 units, that's 2 infantry and 1 colonial, walking into Gibraltar. From Basque, 2 infantry are railing to Western Andalusia. the other 3 mobile units from Basque, which is 2 infantry and 1 mountain infantry, are walking into Catalonia. Joining them is going to be a tactical bomber from northern England, and that'll cover all of my English non-combats anywhere. British Commonwealth at all. Hold on a moment, there's a cat that wants to be let out of my room. Alright. Let's get into... Oh, we got to collect income and place buys. The income is going to be 30 for British home islands, bringing me to 31. FEC collects 8 plus 2 for 10. And Anzac collects 6. Okay, placing buys. The Anzac are going to be lend-leasing their medium tank to the Free French, of course. The infantry, or the militia plus militia upgrades are going into Nubia and in Lower Egypt. And the colonial is going in Lower Egypt. AAA and fighters are all going in Cape Town. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Oh, snap. I only have 1 factory capacity in Calcutta. I can't build what I have decided to build. Okay, well, I'd be inclined to say I shouldn't be... I don't know. I'll have to settle this with the group to make sure I'm compliant as possible. I'm not supposed to be able to decide what I'm spending on now after my combats and non-combats. If I'm allowed to just shift it into being rule compliant, I would keep the airborne and build 2 Gurkhas instead of a transport plane. And those would go in Punjab. But I don't know that I should be allowed to do that. So if that's not allowed, we'll have to discuss what arrangement needs to be fixed with that. Okay. Alright, that is all of the British Commonwealth complete now. Alright, let's move on to Free France. This bank is actually false. I didn't change it from last turn, but my income is only 2, and it has been 2, so it's definitely going to stay 2. I'm not going to build anything with that 2, so I'm going to collect up to 4, and go ahead and start with all of my movements. No combats. From Cameroon, the tank is going to drive into Belgian Congo. From... oh boy. That'll do. From Belgian Congo, all of the French units that didn't just drive there are going to be walking into Tanganyika. That's 7 infantry and 1 AAA. And the infantry in Rhodesia is going to rail into Lower Egypt. The infantry in Transjordan is going to walk into Lower Egypt. And that covers everything that France wants to do. Alright, so they collect back up to 4. And I guess the board should be ready to pass off to Davik for the Italians. Um, Before we get into that, I will do a quick board recap for the British Commonwealth and Free French, so stick around if you need to hear that. Okay, so in Anzac territory, New Zealand has one militia each on North and South Island. Um, I guess, yeah, okay, I'm going to want to move that airborne to New South Wales as well. So Sydney has 4 Anzac militia. New South Wales has 3 Anzac militia plus an airborne. Queensland has 1 infantry and 1 militia. That infantry is going to walk over to Northern Territory to protect the seaplanes. So Queensland just has 1 militia. Northern Territory has 1 militia, 1 infantry, and 2 GB seaplanes. Western Australia has just an Anzac Marines. No naval units anywhere close to Australia for the British Commonwealth. Okay, in FEC territory, we have a destroyer for the FEC in I-12, a fighter for FEC on Ceylon. Southern India has nothing, Benares has nothing. Bengal still has 1 infantry. Calcutta has 3 militia, 1 airborne, 4 infantry, 3 AAA. Delhi has 1 militia. Punjab has 12 Gurkhas. Maha has 1 Gurkha and 1 GB infantry. Nothing in Turkey, Middle East. Aden has 1 militia still, and Transjordan has 1 militia still in the Middle East. Okay. Africa has in I-4 1 GB battleship, 1 FEC naval transport. In I-1, I-4, whatever it is. Next to Cape Town, there is an FEC naval transport. In South Africa, there's an Anzac infantry. In Cape Town, 4 GB, there is a fighter, 2 AAA, 2 militia. Belgian Congo has 1 militia, and then a Free French medium tank. Cameroon still has 2 Free French militia. Tanganyika has 7 Free French infantry with 1 AAA. Sudan has 1 GB militia. Nubia has 1 Anzac motor infantry, and then the rest is for GB. 2 infantry, 1 militia, 1 airborne, 1 fighter, and 2 transport planes. And French Somaliland has for GB 1 infantry, 1 marines, and 1 airborne. I-5 has 2 GB destroyers, 1 light cruiser. Lower Egypt has 2 Free French infantry, 3 advanced artillery, 1 AAA, 1 militia, 6 infantry, and 1 colonial infantry. In port on the south side, there's also 1 GB battleship, 2 GB heavy cruisers, and 1 FEC light carrier. And lastly, for Africa, we have Free French in French Morocco, 2 militia, 2 Foreign Legion, and 4 infantry. Moving on to Europe, in Spain and Gibraltar. In Gibraltar, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 infantry, 1 colonial, 1 militia. Also in port for GB is 1 light carrier, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 coastal defense ship, 1 light cruiser, 2 destroyers, an FEC battleship, and then 2 Free French destroyers. And that covers everything from this video's factions in Gibraltar. Western Andalusia has 2 GB infantry. Catalonia has 1 militia, 2 infantry, 1 mountain infantry, 1 tactical armor. Basque Country has just 1 militia, 4 GB. Alright, moving north to the home islands. There's nothing near Canada, so nothing over there. So, in London, I didn't do any non-combats here. Whatever, it's good enough. So in London, there will be 2 infantry, 2 militia, and 2 AAA. In southern England, there's a seaplane, 3 militia. In northern England, there's 4 infantry, 1 colonial, 1 militia, 1 fighter, and an Anzac artillery. And then on port to the west side of northern England is going to be in port a GB naval transport. That should cover everything for the British Commonwealth and Free France across the board, unless I'm mistaken somewhere. So with that, I shall pass it off to Davik for the Italians, and best of luck.